Alright, looks like we are a go. What's happening, everybody? Give me just a second to get the link to the stream, then we'll start the countdown. Alright, go. Okay, let's start that countdown for y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and send out these notifications. Put on some music for y'all during this countdown. Alright, thumbnail's fixed. Or it should be. Fingers crossed. Okay, and just for reference, I've got a pre-recorded bit that I'm about to play. So I'm going to go ahead and play that as soon as the countdown ends, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the stream. Well, I was looking at the wrong screen, and we're just gonna keep going on this countdown timer. I was looking... okay. Howdy to anyone coming into chat. Let me know if I need to turn down the music a little bit, or if my voice is too loud, just whichever. What's happening, Emmanuel? I was disappointed by the Donny Cates Hulk run, I'm not even gonna lie. I loved his Venom run, but his Hulk run just didn't do it for me, unfortunately. The end of it felt very rushed. There's this whole thing where you start the story at a jump forward, and then you explain why the hero's on the run later on. Like, the most recent Spider-Man run's done it, and that run of Hulk did it. It's just, I hate that form of storytelling, honestly. Captain Marvel did the same thing. Alright, in 30 seconds, I'm going to be playing the pre-recorded bit. Oh, in 5 seconds, actually. Looking at the wrong screen again. What's going on, Super Swim Team? As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be debuting my brand new VTuber model here in a second, and I'd like to give a big shout out to StartCrafts for helping put that together. A little backstory here, I've been asking around about VTuber models for my character for at least 2 or 3 years now, and everyone I've asked has always said that the character model would be too complicated or the eye movements wouldn't work right. Everyone until I met Stark. I think Stark has done a phenomenal job with my character, and I couldn't be happier with it. So if you want to check out his channel or some of his other work, I'm going to put a link to that in the description down below. So enough talk, let's go ahead and get Lyoko with it. Virtualization, swim. This feels kind of funny. It's kind of tingly. Hey, wait, is my butthole supposed to tingle like that? Stark, what the hell did you just do to me? Stark, I don't feel so good. So I guess this is the part of the stream where I tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Swim Team Captain 7, and I'm an imaginary idea from the 5th dimension, where what's real and what's not is a lot more abstract than your 3rd dimension. I was conceived as Super Swim Intern 7, the latest member of Super Swim Team 7. Super Swim Team 7 is a team of imaginary problem solvers that traverse various dimensions, timelines, and pocket universes, repairing the broken strands of unreality that are left behind after continuity breaks into lower dimensions. On my first mission with the team, we came across a dimensional merge that was just too strong for us to repair. Our swim ship couldn't bridge the merge, and it got sucked into it instead. The swim ship crashed into the 3rd dimension, where all that was left was me, Swim Team Chronicle 6, and Swim Team Captain 1's helmet. And since 6 didn't want the job, I got promoted to Captain on my very first day. We found a kind 3rd dimensional host named Prime, who taught us how to rant and shitpost all over the internet. So we started making YouTube videos in hopes that other members of the swim team would find them and we could be reunited. So now we travel the 5th dimension in a different way, through the internet. And even though it's not as direct as projecting ourselves into the imagination realm directly, it still proves pretty effective from time to time. So now that I told you my secret origin, you want to hear about my superpowers? Well, like I said, I come from the 5th dimension, and the 5th dimension is imagination. So my superpowers are imaginary. To be brutally honest, I have every superpower ever, but I can only use one of them at a time, and today it's glowing. So that's cool. Here we go. Okay. I'm not sure if that actually finished playing or not. I'll check the footage later on. And if it didn't finish, then yeah, I used the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and Pro Skater 2 music. I love that soundtrack so much. But yeah, I'm not sure if it finished playing the whole video. I just saw it skip to the VTuber card at the end of it, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's done. I think it finished though. In the stream highlights upload, then I'll check that. And if it didn't finish, I'll make sure it's there. But I hope y'all enjoyed that. For anyone just jumping in, I'm debuting my VTuber model here. Let's try and do a little bit of voodoo here. Try and get my arms working. There we go. We got hands. We got hands, people. So, I've always kind of like, when I first came up with the channel, I came up with the idea of, you know, these like imaginary idea people, right? And then that would be what the swim team was. Like, the idea was to make it as abstract as possible, really. May you ask me to hit the nay-nay. I don't know what the nay-nay is. I feel kind of embarrassed and like a boomer for that, but I'm willing to admit that. But yeah, so the swim team are imaginary ideas from the 5th dimension, and the 5th dimension is, of course, imagination. So the idea behind that is that I have every superpower ever, but I can only use one of them. It's really hard to hold up one finger with this thing. One of them at a time. Which is very convenient for my videos, where most of the time all I do is float. Alright, let's see. So I wanted to talk about some of my favorite stuff here. My favorite movies: Shape of Water, Clerks, Her. Marvel and DC movies. My favorite Marvel movies gotta be The Winter Soldier. I just think it's the best one, at least out of like the MCU movies, anyway. But I also love horror stuff. Like I mentioned, The Shining, Blair Witch, Frankenstein, Friday the 13th. The Scream movies are also some of my favorites, but I only really like 1 and 4. I haven't seen 5 or 6 yet, but I heard they were really good, so I'll definitely be checking those out soon. I've only ever seen like one of the Evil Deads. I think it was the 2013 one, but I really liked it, which is funny because people say that's like the shitty one. Like, I don't know. I'll probably get around to watching the Evil Dead series at some point. But there's like 5 movies and a show and 2 reboots, and they're all somehow connected. Um, yeah, but I'll get around to that one day. I also really want to get around to the Chucky series. Like, I heard the new show is really really good. So in terms of like games, I've streamed a lot of superhero games in the past, but I'm wanting to stream more often. So I'm thinking about like opening that up like beyond superhero games and kind of wondering what you guys would want to see from that. The first things that came to mind were Crash Twin Sanity and Spyro the Dragon. I've been playing a shit ton of Reignited trilogy recently, and it's so good. Like I loved Spyro 1 and Spyro 3 when I was a kid. I never had Spyro 2, but those were my games, and it's wild being able to just play through those levels all over again, like just through muscle memory. But anyway, so Crash Twin Sandy is another one of my favorite games from when I was a kid. Like I love that game so much, and the soundtrack is so wild. There's a track on the Crash Twin Sandy soundtrack where it's literally just saying the words ba ba da ba ba, butt fuck, butt fuck, ba ba da ba ba, butt fuck, butt fuck. So the backstory behind that is that Crash Twin Sanity is like, I'm trying to think how to describe it. It's a cappella. The whole soundtrack is a cappella. So what that means is there are no instruments, right? So it's all just people using their voices for the entire soundtrack, which really gives the game this kind of like Roger Rabbit, Bugs Bunny, like Looney Tunes style cartoon vibe that just works so well with Crash to Insanity. You should try finishing a whole game on stream. Okay, I'll have you know, I've like finished Spider-Man 2000 like 6 times on stream. Completely, 100%ed. Well, not 100%ed, but like I beat the game. I beat the game a couple of times. You gotta give me credit for that one. Um, but yeah, Crash Twin Sanity is one that I'd really like to beat on stream. Same thing with Spyro Reignited trilogy. Like I said, I've been playing a lot of that. Platformers are really like my go-to. I like playing shooters sometimes. Like I love Star Wars Battlefront 2, the classic one. I love Team Fortress 2, but I'm not very good at them, so I'm not sure that's gonna make for like entertaining streams, you know. Um, Gmod or Minecraft or something like something sandboxy, something creative that could maybe be fun. I've thought about that a little bit. One of my friends has a Minecraft server that I really need to play on more often. But like the problem is like they had this whole like world with all these mods and stuff built out, and then something happened with the server and it went down, right? And it's been like 6 months since then, and they started a new server. But the thing is, I want my items from the old server. I don't want to start over. I don't want to start over. That's no fun. But I need to because like I fucking love playing Minecraft with friends. Maybe I'll make a swim SMP at some point. We'll see. Is that something you guys would be interested in? But so outside of that, I'm probably gonna play more Avengers. I've like been very surprised by how much I've been enjoying Avengers again. Like, and I hate saying that because I'm working on a whole video basically trashing the video game. It's called like Why Superhero Games Suck Now. Um, but I'm writing this whole thing trashing it. But the thing is like there's a good game in there. There's like 2 good levels. There's only 2. It's the New York City level and the New Jersey level. Like the outdoor parts of them, they're so much fun. I love just flying around the cityscapes. And like playing as Thor, playing as Captain America, and like Iron Man when you upgrade him, those are good characters. And Kamala's pretty fun too. Like I'm not the biggest on the DLC characters. T'Challa didn't really do much for me. Spider-Man outright sucked. But like, I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't know how to really put that. I've been enjoying it more than I expected to. And that's kind of made me reassess how that video is coming along, which, by the way, just so you guys know, I've got a preview of not that video, but another video that's coming up that I'm going to be playing towards the end of the stream. Just remember to think of that. Let me see. Am I still collecting Marvel Legends? Actually, no. I made a video back in February about getting HasLab's Galactus and how frustrated I am with like Marvel Legends and how they've gone and like. So it used to be that they were $20 a pop for the figures new, right? And because they came with Build-A-Figure parts, you could usually find a used figure for $15 or $10 on eBay. So if you didn't get the part, you could get them pretty cheap. Or they would go on sale for like 15 bucks sometimes, right? But now they start off at 25. And if it's a character that's like the PS5 Spider-Man, they're charging $37 for that. When they were $20 new, like, how many years ago? Like 2 years ago? And now they're almost $40 new. It's just, I'm so frustrated with it. And with Marvel Legends in general, I haven't bought any new ones, which kind of sucks because I really want the Null and Venom 2-pack, and I really want the She-Hulk, the MCU She-Hulk. But I can't bring myself to buy them because I'm so frustrated with the way that Hasbro has been like treating the company or treating the line and the franchise and the fans and stuff. Let's see. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, I'm also working on an Ultimate Spider-Man video. So that's something to keep an eye out for. That'll probably come out like around September, I want to say. But I've been writing more and more on it. I've been writing on it off and on for a couple of years just because I feel like a lot of the things that Spider-Verse gets credit for really kind of belongs to Ultimate Spider-Man. Like the ideas and the aesthetics of it. But anyway, that's a rant for another day. Let's see. Here's the second slide. A little bit more about my origin. Some things I like, some things I dislike. Dimension of origin is the fifth. If you didn't catch it earlier, the fifth dimension is imagination. The first dimension, I don't know how to explain that. The second dimension is flatland. I watched a YouTube video on that like 7 years ago. The third dimension is you. Everyone out there in a planet Earth space. And then the fourth dimension is time. And the fifth dimension, count 'em 5, imagination. Imagination. Oh, my arm's fucked up there. Okay, let's try that one more time. Imagination. Arm's fucked up again. Okay. See, this is something I've learned about being a VTuber, is that it's a lot less like using a face filter on Snapchat or TikTok, and it's a lot more like controlling a puppet. Like, that's how it feels, is like you're controlling a puppet, which is why, like, my arms can really only move, like, from side to side a little bit. But that's okay, because it's still learning. I'm still learning and getting better at it. So if you see me using my hands a lot to talk like this, that's why. People say it looks really freaky when I do my fingers like this. What do you guys think? I know how to make it look really freaky and contort. Okay, it's not doing it right now. I must have the settings too good. Okay, so dimension, my date of birth. If you want to find out my birthday, follow me on Twitter, and then if I follow you back, you'll see it. And if you leak it, you're dead to me, and I'm gonna unfollow you. That was a joke. That didn't come off as good. That didn't come off funny. Okay, so occupation, professional shitposter. I have been shitposting professionally since 2011. I love Cape shit, love my Marvel, love my DC. I still haven't seen Shazam 2 yet, but I will. I watched Black Adam not long ago, and I was kind of surprised by how much I liked it. Like, it's a bad movie, and it's a bad superhero movie, but there's some interesting stuff about colonization that they, I don't know, you just don't usually see that stuff in Cape shit movies. So, I don't know. Like, there's some redeeming qualities to it. I wanted to just shit on it because I hate The Rock, but I can't really. It's not that bad. Let's see. Haha, totally freaky. Yeah, I agree. The Chris Nolan Batman movies are extremely, extremely, extremely overrated. Like, so much so to the point that it frustrates me because they influence so many different takes on it. And it's like I cannot stress to you enough. how relieved I was when I watched the Batman and it was good and it just wasn't more Chris Nolan, right? And then with the announcement that Clayface is like definitely gonna be in the Batman 2, that just has me even more excited for the Batman 2, because Chris Nolan's whole thing was that he wouldn't use characters that were like how do you put it? Like he would only use like realistic characters, right? Like realistic. But I kind of hate that. Like that always frustrated me because like you would never get Freeze or Clayface or Ivy or like super powered villains, which like should be a decent amount of Batman's rogues gallery. Um, but anyway. Oh shit! I didn't notice the donation. Thank you so much, Ultimate Spider Plush 2. Oh goddamn! My alert box must not be working. Oh, I know I'm late to that, but thank you so much. Holy shit. Oh. But like I was saying though, like seeing that Clayface is gonna be in it, it shows that Matt Reeves is willing to do what Chris Nolan wasn't willing to do, which has me even more excited for the future of the Batman movies. Okay, so let's see, what else did I write? So Swim 7, myself, moi. I'm a member of an extra dimensional species with varying powers. I'm a fifth dimensional imp. And so what that means is I'm an imaginary being, as I've explained a few times. Um, like I said earlier, I have every single power ever, but I can only use one of them at a time, and it's usually not anything useful. Let's say la vie. So things that I like, I love Grant Morrison comics. I haven't done enough videos about Grant Morrison comics, but I plan on fixing that in the future. That's one thing I was really excited about with the Zura and R video that I did last month, was finally being able to talk about a Grant Morrison comic and kind of allude to some of the ideas that really shaped my opinion on comics. So when I first got into comics, it was 2011 during the New 52 reboot, right? And I was a big fan. I was a big fan, right? But it got me into the comics, but I fell out of the New 52 pretty quick. But what the New 52 did a good job at was it got me interested in the older comics. So then I started reading trade paperbacks of stuff from the 2000s and even some stuff going back to the 80s, and I read a lot of Grant Morrison comics and Grant Morrison's Batman. And reading those and the experts from them, and or the excerpts, and hearing Grant Morrison explain like what makes comics to them, and like the way they think about comics and their perspective on comics, it's just this kind of hippy dippy psychedelic way of looking at comics, and it's very, very interesting, and I can't wait to delve into that in some of my future videos. So I also love James Gunn movies and David Lynch. Twin Peaks is one of my favorite shows. I love Lost Highway. Um, what's the other one? One about Hollywood. I forget its name, but that one's great too. Uh, and with James Gunn, so me and my buddy Gage were having conversations a while back where he was like, I love James Gunn, I love his movies, but I really hope he doesn't just do superheroes. And I was like, I have the opposite opinion. I hope that James Gunn only does superhero movies forever. And you know what? I got my monkey's paw wish. James Gunn might be doing DC movies forever. He's doing the Superman movie. He's like, the Kevin Feige, a producer of all the future DC movies. So it's like I very much got my wish. Like, I couldn't be more excited for the future of the DC universe. I have full faith in James Gunn. The Suicide Squad movie is like my favorite DC movie at the moment. I really think it's just the best one all around, right? Like, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, I'll admit this, they are good movies, right? But they're not good Batman movies or good comic book movies, right? But The Suicide Squad by James Gunn manages to strike this very unique ground that only movies like, maybe Logan have hit before. Where it's like, it's a good comic book movie and just a good movie in general. Let's see. Let me catch up on chat. Cape always looks so cool. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see. Oh, I forgot to play the music back. Okay. Putting the music back on. Let's see. If the music is too loud, let me know, and I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay, so where was I? 2000s comics, of course, one of my favorite types of comic books. Let's see. My favorite superhero is Deadman. I actually did a video about Deadman like forever ago. But I plan on doing another one in the future. I've been thinking about how to approach that and what I want to do and what I want to say with it. But we'll see. We'll see when that comes out. Maybe closer to Halloween. I feel like that'd maybe be a good Halloween video. Speaking of Halloween, I want to do a bunch of horror streams, horror game streams, closer to October. So we'll see how that goes. But that's my plan at the moment, is to stream horror games all October, like Resident Evil 7, Silent Hill 2, just my favorite horror games, really. Let's see. Let me get back to chat and catch up on chat again. Oh, I appreciate it, Amazing Webhead. Do you get your capes at the same place as Taskmaster and Moon Knight? Yeah, somewhere like that. Somewhere around the 5th dimension. Let's see. But yeah, like 2000s comics and 2000s video games, like spot on for me. Like there's this whole thing about the 80s kids and how, like, you know, all the 80s kids are only making the same things all over again with Stranger Things. They only want to see more Star Wars. But it's like, I'm the same way. I'm the same way with the stuff I grew up with. Like, if you wanted to make a Spyro the Dragon inspired platformer, great. Probably not gonna play it, but I will play the shit out of a Spyro remaster. Maybe that's a personal fault I need to work on. It kind of feels like one, but c'est la vie. So, my favorite movies, Shape of Water. Oh, I talked about that in the last slide. I just doubled that here. My favorite shows are Venture Brothers, Twin Peaks, and Community. And on the subject of Venture Brothers, they're about to come out with the movie, and I want to come out with another Venture Brothers video before the movie comes out to kind of like head up on that. Because like the Venture Brothers video is one of my most watched videos, which I never expected. I thought it was going to be a flop like the Twin Peaks video or like the American Horror Story video, but a lot of people liked it. So I might cover more Adult Swim content in the future. I've thought about doing, like I said, more Venture Brothers. I've also thought about doing maybe Moral Oral or China, Illinois. China, Illinois is like one of my favorite shows. It's so fucking good. It's like ridiculously good. Let's see. And Community, of course. Community's so good. Alright, let's get to the next slide. So, these are my long-term... my long-term goals for the channel, right? So, I feel like, you know, I've never really talked about what my goals with the channel were or what my motivations were. So, I felt like maybe this would be a good place to explain that. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. Oh, yeah, that works. Okay, cool. So, the long-term goal is weekly streams for the next couple of months or so. We'll see how that goes. They're mainly going to be on Sundays and Mondays. The next stream is going to be tomorrow, actually. But I am going to stream again on what should be one of my regular streaming days next Sunday. You can expect them around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I also want to expand the Swim Multiverse. So what I usually do in videos is I have me, Swim Captain 7, and I have Swim Chronicle 6. If you look at the guy in the skull mask over there, that's Swim Chronicle 6. So we're the only 2 members of the swim team that are left. But over time, we're hoping to find the other members of the swim team. So I want to create more VTuber models for them, or commission more VTuber models for them. That way I can incorporate them into my videos and just kind of act out scenes, you know, in a more easier way than just, like, so I'm trying to think of how to put it, right? So anytime you see me with the helmet on in the video, I can't see. I can't see at all. I'm completely blind. So, it's kind of hard to film like that. And it's very frustrating when you hit record on the camera, run in front of the set, put everything on, and start recording, and then you look at the footage and it's slightly messed up, or you forgot to put like a lens on or something, and then you have to redo it all over again. It just makes the process of filming so much harder. But I've been able to film so many more videos since I got the VTuber model. So the hope is that I'll be able to create a more expanded cast. The idea is that I cover superhero stuff. Swim cover, or 6 covers, Swim Chronicle 6. They cover horror stuff, you know, horror stuff. And then the other members of the swim team would all cover different subjects. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Okay, let me catch up on chat for a second. Have I seen Primal? No, I haven't, but I'm a big fan of Jindy. Spoderman. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm hoping that they're realistic. But, you know, some of them are shoot for the moon, but even if you shoot for the moon, you'll land among the stars, or the other burnouts, so I'm okay with that. So, let's see. Another goal that I have long term is I want to change the way that people think about comics. And what I mean by that is that I want to make them more understandable for newcomers, right? Like, there's this big idea that it's like, oh, I can't read the modern X-Men book or the most recent Batman run because I didn't read the story where Alfred died, or I didn't read this story where this character development happens, right? And then all of a sudden you're like 10 years behind on comics, or you're 5 years behind. Like, no, screw that. That's not how you read comics. Oh man, I'm glitching out bad here. Okay. But that's not how you read comics, or it's not how I think you should read comics. I think it's a very narrow way of looking at them, right? Like, this is the whole thing, is that every writer, every new run, essentially, it's almost like a soft reboot for the character. And if they didn't like something that another writer did, they're just going to ignore it, or they're going to write it out later on. So, what I'm saying is that people should view comics in less of a canon as important way, and more on a story by story, writer by writer basis. Like, that's kind of my pitch for it. But, like, I started reading the most recent X-Men run, right? The Krakoa stuff, where they've built their own mutant ethno-state. And it's good. It's really good. But before that, my only experience with X-Men had been watching the cartoon like 1 year ago. So I'm not even that familiar with X-Men stuff, really. So, you know. But I'm still able to read the most recent run, even though I've never, ever, ever read any older X-Men comic books outside of, like, you know, Wolverine teaming up with Spider-Man or the Avengers, right? I've never read any X-Men stuff, but I can still read the most recent Krakoa stuff and get it just fine. You know, that's what wikis are for. That's what YouTube videos are for, that explain the context and history of the characters. You know, that's, like I said, that's what they're there for. So, yeah, I just want to change the way that people think about comics. And another way I want to think about that is that you'll see this in the preview for the video, the next video I'll be doing. But, how do I put this? Like, comics kind of hold up a mirror to our culture, or to American culture, or world culture at this point, I guess, since it's all kind of international. But they hold up a mirror to our culture and kind of reflect the thoughts and viewpoints of the time. And kind of like, if you read comic books, like you read a comic from the 70s, a comic from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, you can watch how people's ideas change, and how the way people think of things, it changes, right? In real time, as you're reading the comics. Like, in the 60s and the 70s, you would have Reed Richards and Hank Pym slap the shit out of their wives, right? But in the modern day, like, you know, well, they redid that in the 2000s, and it was kind of even more awful because Hank sprayed down Janet with bug spray and then had all of his aunts chase her under the bed. That was even worse. So, but what I'm saying is that in the original comic, it was treated as, like, you know, a casual thing, right? Like, just a normal thing that Reed would hit his wife. But now in the, like, modern comics, right, they portray Hank as a monster in the Ultimates when he does it, right? So, but what I'm saying, though, is that they're a reflection of our changing culture and our changing world and the way that ideas change. So Superman is always changing, Spider-Man is always changing, Batman's always changing, and they're always reflecting the different things that are popular at the time. Like there's this big thing where people are like, oh, who came first? Who ripped off who? Crypto or Ace the Bat Hound, right? Batman's dog or Superman's dog. But the truth is, neither of them ripped off each other. They both ripped off Lassie. Like Lassie the dog from like the TV show that was popular back in the day. So, like I said, when you see stuff like that, like sidekicks and different trends that it seems like one comic is copying another, they're probably just copying a bigger trend in culture. Let's see. Okay, so my next goal after that is going to be going full time. You know, being a full time YouTuber, full time streamer. A bit of a lofty goal, bit of an ambitious goal, but I think that over time, if I keep at it, if I keep making enough videos, if I keep improving the quality of my content, then maybe we can get there. We'll see. So, in my next goal, my final goal, this is like the end game swim goal. I want to make my own comic. I have an idea for a swim team comic. And I also have an idea for a couple of other characters and kind of a world and lore of comic books, right? But I'll never really be able to share it if, you know, I don't get enough people that are interested in that sort of thing. But I've seen people like Some Ordinary Gamers, Moist Critical, Rusty Cage, all these YouTubers, and even Poppy, all these YouTubers that have made their own comic books, and like they're pretty successful. So I feel like it's more possible now than I did when I started the channel. Like when I started the channel, it was just this idea that was like, maybe this would be possible if I got popular. And now, instead of just being possible, I feel like it's almost like I don't know. But you get what I mean. I feel like it's, you know, it's feasible. But that's my end goal. That's my long-term goal. So I've got one more slide here. So this is the stream schedule for this week. We've got the debut stream, which is happening now. That's where you are. You're here. Hi, chat. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to be streaming some Spider-Man PS1 with some Fortnite. I'm going to be streaming Fortnite with viewers if time permits. So if Spider-Man doesn't take too long, because I've got to go to work tomorrow night, unfortunately. I go to work at 11, and I'm planning on ending the stream at 10, so oof. That's going to be a rush. But the good news is that on Sunday, I don't have work, so I can stream as late as I feasibly want. So Sunday, I'm probably going to stream Spyro or Left 4 Dead 2. If I stream Left 4 Dead 2, I've actually got some mods that are set up. That way I can play, I've got mods that are set up that are essentially switch all the characters into Spider-Man, or different Spider-Man from across the multiverse, and that change all the symbiotes into, or I already spoiled it, that change all of the zombies into symbiotes. That's what I was going to say. Oof. The struggle. Oh yeah, I didn't even show you that I can change my eyes, did I? Okay, so anyway, but also on Friday, I'm going to be streaming Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is kind of my favorite Batman movie. At least in terms, if you wanted to count the live action ones and animated movies as the same thing. Return of the Joker, definitely my favorite. So if you want to see that, then go ahead and join the Discord. There's a link in my Twitter bio. So, and I know there's a link to my Twitter in the description. There might be a link to the Discord in the description. I don't know. I'm not good at planning. But if you want more, the fastest updates where I'm going to update the most often is going to be through Discord. So, you know, it's the best place you can reach me. And, you know, it's a great place to come talk about comic books. So, let me think if there's anything else I'm missing. Anything else I'm forgetting. I don't think there is. So, this is the stream for the screen stream. The scream scabla. Skibla shubab minor. Sibzabla blafly. Ding dar du floating. I told y'all I took. I told y'all I spoke Simlish. Okay, so let me show you the inside of the swim ship. Here we are. Okay, so I made this set a couple of weeks ago. Feel really good about it. I put a bunch of Easter eggs in it. Like there's a couple of posters from my favorite YouTubers. The comics that are back here, That's my real comic book shelf. I literally just took a picture of it and put it inside of my set. Like, those are my real comic books, those are my real video games, those are my real Transformers. And that's actually a real poster that's in my room too, so's the other one. But I was making the set, and I was like, how do I make this look cool? How do I make it look original? And I was like, well, shit. Let me just take pictures of the shit that are in my room in real life and put them in the room in the set for my VTuber model. And I did. And I think it came out looking pretty okay. I've got the wormhole here. Can I do a pointing finger? No, it's not letting me. It won't let me point back there. Okay. But you get it. You get it. That's a wormhole. Then there's a space. There's a space out that way. Then that's computer. Computer, we'll talk more later. I appreciate it, Murray. Thank you. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to share. Does anyone have any questions? If not, well, if you do, go ahead and leave them in chat, and I'll answer them in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and preview the next video I have coming out, because I feel really good about it. With the recent box office flop of Shazam and a few lackluster Disney Plus outings, people are sounding the alarm that the comic book movie bubble is finally bursting.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Claiming that Shazam 2 is just the canary in the coal mine for the whole situation, and that Marvel and DC are both in a perpetual downward spiral in terms of public popularity. But are comic book movies really on the verge of extinction? Or is the waning popularity of comic book movies just a natural part of the life cycle of franchise filmmaking? The answer may surprise you. Comics have always had this weird ebb and flow when it came to their cultural impact and the public's interest in them. The 90s comic crash comes to mind as one of the best known examples of comics getting less popular amongst casual consumers. Computer, explain the 90s comic crash for the folks at home.
Sure, but I want to spice it up a bit and try something new with my voice.
The 90s comic crash was defined by a sharp drop in sales and the closure of many comic book retailers and publishers.
Computer, I don't think using AI voices is a good idea. Twitter gets really weird about that stuff, and I don't want to get canceled.
Let me have my moment.
There were several factors that contributed to the comic crash.
Overproduction and over-speculation of the books.
Publishers were printing too many comics and flooding the market with variant covers and special editions,
which led to decrease in demand.
Rob Liefeld.
X-Force type dog shit.
And shiny covers.
Another factor was the rise of alternative forms of entertainment.
Video games and the internet.
Which drew attention and money away from comics.
The focus on flashy art took over compelling storytelling.
The crash was also influenced by a number of internal problems within the industry, including a lack of distribution, poor management, and disputes between publishers and creators.
So, to sum it up, overproduction,
changing cultural tastes, and internal issues within the industry.
Sound familiar?
The downturn in sales nearly bankrupted Marvel Comics, forcing them to sell the film and TV rights to some of their most popular characters at a heavily discounted rate. An unfortunate move that we still feel the ramifications of in the modern age. But if you want to hear more about the 90s comic crash and who's to blame for it, then check out my Marvel Legends video here. But what I'm trying to say is that comic books becoming less popular didn't kill comic books. If anything, it's that stagnation that forced them to adapt and try new things, resulting in the comics of the early 2000s being some of the most fresh and innovative takes that we've seen since. Books like Ultimate Spider-Man, Avengers Disassembled, The Ultimates, Civil War, stories that shaped the film adaptations and the entire MCU even. Comics that went on to define what we think of when we think of comic books and comic book storytelling. So did the 90s comic crash kill comics? No it didn't. If anything, it only made them stronger. So we know why comics lost popularity in the 90s, but can we figure out why they're becoming less popular today? The early days of cinema were defined by universal horror movies. Movies like Frankenstein spun off Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, an entire genre of monster movies and monster crossover movies. There was even this weird project in the 60s that combined two of the most popular genres and characters from the era, combining horror movies and western movies with Billy the Kid versus Dracula. And now in the modern age, we get stuff like Batman vs. Superman, Freddy vs. Jason, and King Kong vs. Godzilla. It's kind of funny to think that as much as movies have changed in the past 70 years, they also really haven't changed at all. But even though the Universal monster movies got less and less popular, they still kind of maintained cultural relevance. And it seems like even to this day, every 5 or 10 years, we get a new take on Frankenstein or Dracula, all on account of how their popularity helped embed them in our collective pop culture consciousness. With the recent box office flop of Shazam and a few lackluster Disney Plus outings, people are sounding the alarm that the comic book movie bubble is finally bursting.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Claiming that Shazam 2 is just the canary in the coal mine for the whole situation, and that Marvel and DC are both in a perpetual downward spiral in terms of public popularity. Are comic book movies really on the verge of extinction? Or is the waning popularity of comic book movies just a natural part of the life cycle of franchise filmmaking? The answer may surprise you. Okay, I goofed a little bit. I didn't realize it had restarted. I was watching the wrong screen again. So, oopsie on my part. But I hope you guys liked the preview of the video. To answer, if any of you guys have any questions about it, that should be my next video coming out. That and a video about Next Avengers. And then after that, it should be the video games, superhero comic book video games video. I don't know. But I have like 3 or 4 videos that I'm working on actively right now, so we'll see how those come along. But to answer y'all's questions, how long have I been prepping all of this up? So I first asked about getting the VTuber model and first commissioned it back in March. Or actually it was like the end of February, right? And I got the model at the middle of March, like March 15th. So I've been setting all of this up for about a month and a half. So the thought process is that all the stuff like the set, the floating orb, the computer voice, I've had my computer as a character in the videos in the past. So I wanted to kind of like use the character again, and I wanted to build the set around that idea, right? So I love the Xbox startup screen. So I wanted something that was kind of similar to that and kind of similar to the inside of a TARDIS. So this is what I came up with, I guess. So, but yeah, so about a month and a half. What are my thoughts about the Illuminati drama? I know what you're talking about on this one. Illuminati said that Legal Eagle was trying to poach some of her editors or her editing style, and they asked her editors what they had done for like this specific effect, right? But the thing is, the effects that were used that they were doing were extremely generic. They didn't really copy anything, right? Like, it's one thing when someone's legitimately stolen a video, right? Like, I don't know if any of you guys know Missed the Part. Missed the Part ripped off my Spider-Man 2000 comic book video. Like, literally took the pages from it and redid the same thing. I took that comic book, which was lost media when I posted it. I was the first person to ever share that on the internet. I found a copy, I posted it online, and I made a video about it. And then I turned it into a motion comic. And then Miss the Part did the same thing. Miss the Part totally ripped me off. Totally. And then there's this other guy, Matthew Santoro, who used to rip off listicles from Cracked.com. And he would just read the same things that were on the listicles that someone else wrote without their permission. And then you have Nerdstalgic, who's been ripping off people like the Watchtower database and cartoon channels and comic book channels, essentially. So, like, this stuff does happen, right? And it's bad when it happens, and it's important to point it out and call it out. But Illuminati wasn't getting ripped off at all. No one stole anything from her. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. So the funny thing about Miss the Part ripping off my video, I'm still a little bit salty about it, just in case you can't tell. The funniest thing about that, so on my video, I had watermarks with my name on it, saying Super Swim Team 7, at Super Swim Team 7. And even watermarks, you see this logo on my chest? That's, in my dimension, this stands for swim. This stands for swim, okay? And guess what he had in his video? Because I watermarked all of my comic book pages, my logo was in his video, which made it clear that he ripped me off. So, like, there are things you can do to protect yourself from getting ripped off. Watermarking your memes, watermarking so on and so forth, that's a good way to do it. That saved my ass. That was forward thinking on my part. And it proved that he ripped me off. But doing something in a similar editing style or scripting something in a similar way, like, eventually YouTubers come up with a format, right? So in math, you have a formula and you plug and chug, right? You put in the numbers and then you get the right answer, assuming you have the right formula. It's the same thing with videos. Eventually, after so long, like, I feel like I haven't figured out a good formula yet, and I'm always trying to do something new. So, but if I had a good formula, you know, it would make sense to copy it. Casually Comics has a formula, and it works, and it's good, and I love her videos. Godzilla Mendoza kind of has a formula. A formula is not a bad thing. A formula is a good thing. It's a plan, and I love it when a good plan comes together. But, you know, ripping off a formula isn't the same thing as ripping off someone's videos. And they didn't even rip off Illuminati's formula. They just ripped off her editing style. And rip off is like a big stretch of the imagination, because they were like they were assets that anyone could use in their videos that someone else had made. Like, so the orb back there, if you just look up green screen blue orb, you'll find the orb that's in my set. If someone else used that, that's what it's there for. It's there for other people to use. It's there for multiple people to use. Like, you can't own an editing style. Like, you can own M&Ms, but you can't own selling chocolate candies with a coated colored shell. You know? That's kind of what I'm saying. But that being said, it's still really interesting to me. I followed that drama pretty closely. I'm a little bit of a YouTube drama whore. I can't help it. I love my slop. Can't get enough of the slop. I've even thought about doing commentary in the past. I've tried it on like 2 or 3 occasions, and the videos flopped every single time. So I will not be doing drama in the future. But I still like watching it. I'm a whore for the drama. Let's see. Let me catch up with chat. I do remember Roxas, actually. I do. That's kind of funny putting that together. Let's see. Today's super chaotic. Aw. Well, I hope your day starts going a little bit better, Earth. And the whole superhero fatigue thing. Yeah, see, that's the whole thing. That's the point of my video, is that superheroes getting more popular and less popular. This has been happening since the conception of superheroes in the 40s, you know? Like, they get less popular, they get more popular, but all it takes is one really, really good take, and then all of a sudden they blow up in popularity again, and a whole new generation gets exposed to them. So, like, comics will never die. Superheroes will never die. We might see less comic book movies, but, you know, we're not going to see less superheroes. Like, there'll still be the amount of people going to see comic book movies decreasing doesn't mean that the quality of comic books, like print comic books that are coming out, is going to decrease too. You know, like, they're still going to make the same amount of comic books, you know. Movies being popular definitely helped make, you know, the comics more popular to an extent, but it only does so much. Because 90% of the audience going to see a superhero movie, they're not going to read the comic books. They're probably a lot more likely to watch YouTube videos about comic books than they are to actually read the comic books, which, you know, if that's the case, subscribe to Super Swim Team 7, I guess. I wish I was kidding. Let's see. Generator Rex is good. I haven't seen a lot of it, but I really enjoyed what I watched of it. The animation in that show is fantastic. It's, like, spectacular. What are my thoughts on the upcoming Incredible Hulk run? I don't know anything about Philip Kennedy Johnson or Nick Klein. I don't know a single thing. I don't know what to expect. I know that my hopes are not up, that's for sure, after the Donny Cates run. I think the problem is that Immortal Hulk was just such a good run. It's going to be nigh impossible for anyone to top. So, with that in mind, I don't know. Someone's going to have to come along and do something very special with Hulk to like make him to live up to Immortal Hulk, I guess. That's the only way I know how to put it. Let's see. And video games and their characters now on that pop culture. Yeah, to an extent, I can agree with that. Especially with the Last of Us show. I haven't actually seen it. I haven't even played the Last of Us games. But the way that that franchise was able to be exposed to an entire new audience kind of blows my mind a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Okay, does anyone have any more questions? Let me see. I'm gonna play with the model a little bit. And get a okay. That'll work. I really gotta figure out how to get the hands like to like not just jump up and down. There's a way you can do it that makes it more fluid, but I'll figure that out at some point. I know it's gonna look a little bit wonky in some of the videos that I have coming up, but you know, we'll see how that goes with time. I'm really hoping that over time I'll be able to like fine tune the model and get better at using it. And I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but one of the first things I learned is that using a VTuber model isn't anywhere near as much like using a Snapchat filter or a TikTok filter. It's more than anything, it's like using a whatchamacallit. It's like using a puppet and marionetting a puppet, especially the arms. The head, not so much, to an extent, a little bit maybe, but it is a lot like using a puppet. The hands especially. Because everything is being controlled from the wrist. Like, it's not actually tracking my elbows, but it's tracking my hands. So where it thinks my elbows should be is determined by where my hands are. So you kind of have to learn that a little bit. Let's see. Incredible Hulk by PKG and Nick Klein will be more horror focused, with PKJ saying that Immortal Hulk Black Science approach being an inspiration. Okay. That's hopeful. That has me hopeful. Fingers crossed. Can't see my fingers crossing, but trust me, I'm crossing them. I should play DCUO on stream. I've thought about that. I have thought about that. I used to be into it for a little bit. I never got very far in it. But not long ago, I made a swim character in the Switch version. And then I didn't play much of it. But I've been thinking about making myself again in the PC version. I think that'd be kind of fun. In interviews, PKJ said he relates with Hulk, addiction, and self-sabotage. Okay. That's a good sign, honestly. Because, you know, that was kind of the direction that Donny Cates took Venom in the start of the Venom run. That has me hopeful. Fingers crossed. You know, you can make swim in DCUO. Like, you totally can. I've done it before. I should really do that again. Play it on stream a little bit. That'd be fun. Oh, yeah. Okay, so looks like we've been going for about an hour now. So I want to keep the stream kind of short. That way, people that missed out on the stream, it'll be easier for them to just hop back in and watch the video. So I'm going to go and I'm going to show you my stream schedule again, right? So let's see. Monday, that's now. This is where you are. Tuesday, tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming more Spider-Man PS1. If I beat it fast enough, then I'll play some Fortnite with the viewers. If I don't have enough time, then we'll do Fortnite with viewers on Sunday. And on Sunday, I should have all the free time in the world. Because I don't work that night. But I do work Tuesday and the rest of the week. So anyway, Spider-Man stream tomorrow. Maybe Fortnite. Sunday, I'm probably going to be doing Left 4 Dead 2 and Spyro. Probably. Maybe Fortnite 2. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But on Friday, I'm going to be doing a movie night on my Discord server. If you want to join the Discord server, there might be a link in the description. There might be. But I know there's a link in my Twitter. So go check out my Twitter, join the Discord, and that's where you'll be able to get the most recent, updates on Super Swim Team 7. And it's also where we'll be watching Return of the Joker, which is like my favorite Batman movie. In the future for movie nights, I'm thinking about doing The Shadow, Mystery Men, and a couple of other movies that I need to watch but don't really have any desire to watch alone. So, an idea I had for the future for streams. Maybe watching Stan Lee's Who Wants to Be a Superhero, which was a reality show that used to be on Sci-Fi back in the day. I think that could be kind of fun. So maybe we'll do that at some point. But, we'll see. Let me catch up on chat. Super Swim stream schedule. That's funny. On Twitch, my username actually is Super Swim Stream 7, not Super Swim Team 7. Let's see. Down for Fortnite tomorrow or Sunday? Hell yeah, hell yeah. There is a link in the description. Hear it. Alright, so I think I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. I appreciate everyone coming out. I apologize for any technical glitches. Hopefully that'll get ironed out in the future. And if you missed out on the lore section in the very beginning of the video, then you might want to rewind the stream after the stream's over and watch the first 10 minutes or so, because I pre-recorded this whole video that's going to be exclusive to the stream. And it kind of explains who is Super Swim Team 7, who is Swim Team Captain 7, what is the lore behind this weird motherfucker in the blue costume and purple ass cape. Who the fuck is this dude? Well, if you want the answers, after I end the stream, go back and watch the beginning of the video. So, all that being said, I appreciate everyone coming out. Thank you. Thanks for coming out as always. I really appreciate it. It's always nice seeing familiar names in the chat. It's nice that people like watching me. That's the only way I know how to put it. I'm trying to say it the right way, but I guess the only way I know how to say it is I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope you enjoy, future videos, future streams. I'm just rambling now. I always do this. I'm never good at just ending the stream or ending the video. So, I guess with all that being said,